One of the reasons I sometimes find myself missing deadlines now that the series is independent, I mean apart from that whole plague situation, is that whereas previously I might have gone through emotional whiplash every time I saw something incredibly stupid in pop culture trending, so I could think, oh god, I would rather do anything else than talk about something so stupid, but I'm getting paid to fill 5 to 10 minutes of watch time with something tomorrow, so I guess I'll cover that, whereas now, when something stupid trends, it's more like, oh god, I would rather do anything else than talk about something so stupid, and I can do anything else, so I do.
Suck my dick!
But then other times, stupid things pile up all at once, sometimes in a row, and kind of on a theme, and I did say I need to get more content posted, so okay, fine, let's get on the record about these while we wait for anything interesting to actually happen again. Anyway.
M&ms, the candy company, has just announced that it's redesigning its cartoon characters to be more gender inclusive. You're seeing the changes right now on your screen. The green M&M, you will notice, is no longer wearing sexy boots. Now she's wearing sensible sneakers. Why the change? Well, according to M&M's, quote, we all win when we see more women in leading roles, because leading women do not wear sexy boots. Leading women wear frumpy shoes. The frumpier, the better. That's the rule. The brown M&M has, quote, transitioned from high stilettos to lower block heels. Also less sexy. That's progress. M&Ms will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing and totally androgynous. Until the moment you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them. That's the goal. When you're totally turned off, we've achieved equity. They've won.
Tucker Carlson is stupid. I know most everyone who watches this knows that, even if you agree with me about absolutely nothing else, but even setting the politics aside from it, i.e. even measured against the baseline wherein everyone on Tucker Carlson's side of American politics is stupid, you know, they believe in stupid things like Reaganomics, creationism, flat earth theory, climate denial, white nationalism, etc. Tucker Carlson is a profoundly stupid person, and if you're only just realizing it because he actually did a primetime news segment about how bad he wants to fuck the green M&M, but not anymore because her shoes aren't as sexy, I mean, where have you been during his nightly pro-COVID sermons, anti-vaxxer propaganda, mutual Zoom jerk-off sessions with human clown shoe Glenn Greenwald, or his stumping for the bigoted anti-democratic isolationists running hungry, for that matter? I mean, come on.
Disney is totally changing Minnie Mouse. Disney is putting Minnie Mouse in a pantsuit. That's right. They're getting rid of the skirt, and this is Disney Paris or something like that. And I thought, who better to ask about this than Candace Owens? Your reaction. Why are they doing this?
Oh, I'm just so glad. I'm so glad they're doing this. Let me just tell you, Jesse, it goes back to like when they did this to the M&Ms and now they're making her more masculine. They're trying to destroy fabrics of our society and pretending that there's issues. So everybody looks over here. Look at Minnie Mouse. Don't look at inflation, Jesse. Look at Minnie Mouse. The world is going forward because you've got her in a pantsuit. Never mind that you can't get anything at the grocery store and you can't buy a piece of bacon unless you've got $30 in your pocket.
Candace Owens is a disingenuous performance artist whose shtick is saying edgy things for attention on TV while looking like Candace Owens, and people keep buying it, you know, less because it's a good shtick than because there aren't as many people lowering themselves to it on her end of the media as there used to be. A lot of trolls just get paid in attention on social media now. Anyway, this wasn't even a redesign, it's a one-off thing for Paris Disney Park at some event. This was Minnie's design in the 80s and 90s. Donald is still bare-assed in a sailor suit, so why did even Fox pretend to care about this? Please refer to previous segment.
Disney has responded to recent harsh criticisms made by Peter Dinklage about the upcoming live-action remake of Snow White. After noting the casting of West Side Story breakout Rachel Zegler, Dinklage told Marin, "Literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Let's take a step back and look at what you're doing there. It makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but then you're still making that backwards story about 7 dwarves living in a cave together." The studio attempted to set the record straight following the remarks. To avoid reinforcing stereotypes from the original animated film, we are taking a different approach with these 7 characters and have been consulting with members of the dwarfism community. We look forward to sharing more as the film heads into production after a lengthy development period.
Okay, so Peter Dinklage actually has a point here, I feel like, but I also think actors like Dylan Postal, who had a counter-argument, are valid in the logic of their concern as well either way, but, not my place to say on that aspect of this one way or another. Here's something I will say, though. There is zero, and I mean less than negative chance, that Disney actually changed their mind about this because of what he said. Maybe they took a meeting, maybe they got some notes, maybe any of a dozen things went down, but it is next to impossible that they were all set to go on the regular old Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs version of this with a supporting cast for the Snow White movie, which they already decided to spend hundreds of millions making and just cast the lead, the Prince and the Wicked Queen, years out for already, and just before going into production decided, oh hey, the guy from Game of Thrones raised an interesting point, let's change the entire plan for the whole other half of the cast at the last minute. I mean, regardless of whether or not you agree, use your goddamn brains. That's not how film productions work, and the timeline doesn't make any sense. Never mind that a lot of other fantasy movies stopped having magical dwarves be played by only real people with dwarfism, which is two different things, over a decade ago after Lord of the Rings. The studio never once referred to this project as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in press production releases the entire time they've been making it, which is kind of important because these specific Seven Dwarfs from their version are the way Disney enforces quasi-copyright over what's otherwise a public domain fairy tale, and they're very protective of them.
Are there any dwarves in your story?
Yes, but they're my own original creation. There's Krabby, Drunky, Hungry, Greedy, Lenny,
Kearney!
and Doc. Tor Hibbert.
Ho hi, it's time to now get high. We'll take some shrooms and go to our rooms.
That's why they didn't have the names in that Kristen Stewart, Chris Hemsworth version that everyone kind of forgot about, even though it wasn't that long ago, which also, by the way, used actors shrunk down a la Lord of the Rings. In other words, the different direction they're apparently going in, i.e. there'll still be 7 magic pals for Snow White, and I imagine there'll still be Dopey, Sneezy, Bashful, Sleepy, Happy, Grumpy, and Doc, but now there'll be a wider variety of likely CG fantasy creatures, all the better to make a wider variety of merchandise from. Yeah, that was probably one of the first decisions they made on this project before they even cast anyone else, and why the word dwarves was never in the title to begin with, because it makes the most sense in a modern production. 7 brand new characters you can design and cast from the ground up, rather than trying to find 7 actors with group chemistry that'll translate to forced perspective scenes where they're Hobbit scaled down to the other actors. I mean, that's partly why Snow White was the project they went with for the first animated movie back in the day, right? Walt Disney wanted to prove that feature-length animation was possible with realistic human characters, but they were also hedging their bets that the audience engagement with the rotoscoped actors might not click all the way, so they went with a story that had one sympathetic main full-size lead at the center who could otherwise share their screen time with environmental effects, animals, and characters proportioned more like traditional Disney cartoons, because those were things the animators had already perfected and they knew audiences were going to engage with. It was the safer bet, and I'd wager that the only problem Peter Dinklage caused for Disney here is that they wanted to have all of this be a thing to talk about when they had trailers or key art to show, not now before they had any stuff. But overall, the point remains the same. The story playing out in the entertainment press now because it moves more traffic that a celebrity called out a production, or that Dopey, Sneezy, Bashful, Sleepy, Happy, Grumpy, and Doc got cancelled, is a completely dumb and fake thing. And not only because all canceling stories are fake, because cancel culture isn't a real thing. And the same goes for Minnie's pantsuit, though in the case of that one it looks like an overzealous staffer in the right-wing press thought they had a big winner for a buzzy culture war story and didn't check properly, or a very savvy staffer for a Disney social media saw a big make our critics look stupid and get some free press out of nothing opportunity and boosted up the reach on that story in the first place. Because that's definitely what happened with the M&ms thing, which sincerely, even for a one of these news item, is one of the most catastrophically stupid versions I've seen play out, because as anyone could have told you, no, the Mars Candy Company does not give one damn about being on one side or the other of wokeness, anti-wokeness, or whatever stupid fake thing reactionary morons are pretending to have man-feels about this month. Duh. Of course not.
I had to ghost Joe Rogan. I mean, he loved tripping on mushrooms, but once he was high, he'd make me watch these Jordan Peterson videos.
Would you tell Joe Rogan the truth?
I mean, he would probably say the truth is a spectrum, and I would tell him that makes no sense, and then he'd put me into a headlock, get insanely high, and then jump into a sensory deprivation tank, so no.
All that went down, and all that was ever going to go down, sorry Tucker, was that their marketing department did a minor update to the character designs of the M&M's mascots, probably the laziest, still basically functional mascots of their type, honestly, in terms of a design people recognize. Still, I bet no one would have noticed or even pretended to care about had some diabolical genius in the same M&M's marketing department not looked at the scenario and said, so hey, you know how this literal nothing news item becomes actual something and a PR win for us? We treat it like a big reveal, but use words like rainbow of diversity and focus on Green's new flats because there's just this army of raged up incel man-children out there who will blow a blood vessel at the slightest suggestion that anyone is showing consideration for anybody marginalized, and if we pretend to do that, especially connected to something trivial and stupid like our cartoon candy, so they can feel like they're being clever and cutting, taking it down, morons on Fox News will do segments about it, and the real news will cover that to make fun of them, and then everyone will be talking about M&ms for the week.
Nah, I want to kill my parents anyway.
Recycle. Healthcare is a right. Delete Twitter.
But not talking about the once again circulating series of lawsuits and international protests against Mars and other chocolate companies for still getting their raw product from farms that use child slave labor, which also was in the news but for some reason did not receive even 1/20th of the same coverage. Yeah, that's a real thing. So next time you find yourself surrounded by a stupid news item and asking, why are we talking about something so stupid, maybe ask yourself if there isn't something else someone would rather you not be talking about at all. I'm Bob, and that's the big picture.